Viewers are advised this case involves sexual and mental abusive, including some graphic descriptions. Thank you.
And welcome. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I do want to apologize for the delay of this video. I got frustrated with the editing and just the video in general, so I redid it, but I do apologize for the delay. Second, this will be my last video for this month because next week is Thanksgiving and it's also my birthday. But I want to give something to you guys to show you how grateful and thankful I am for this entire year. So I will be doing a big giveaway, and I'll have more details on that next Monday on a community post. So, third, final thing, I promise. I will be launching a podcast in ASMR with a co-host, and I'll have that next year, like in the process of figuring out all this stuff. But it will be about my like personal childhood. It will be about our personal childhood and society and all that. So I'm so freaking excited. So yeah. So please let me know in the comments if that is something you are interested in, about like, I guess, yeah, interested in. And if you are, please leave me comments of topics. Sorry, please leave me topics in the comments of what you want to hear. So yeah, I hope that made sense. I'm sorry. Okay, that's it. Okay, with that being said, let's begin with tonight's video. Lawrence Sigmund Bittaker was born on September 27, 1940, and adopted as an infant by Mr. and Mrs. George Bittaker. His adoptive father worked in the aviation industry, which required the family to frequently move around the United States throughout his childhood. Bittaker was first arrested for shoplifting at the age of 12 and obtained a minor criminal record over the next 4 years. In addition to petty theft, which brought him to the attention of juvenile authorities, he would later claim these numerous theft-related offenses committed throughout his adolescence had been attempts to compensate for the lack of love he received from his parents. Although reported to have an IQ of 138, Bittaker considered school to be a tenuous experience and dropped out of high school in 1957. Within a year of dropping out, he had been arrested for car theft, a hit and run, and evading arrest. Upon release, he discovered that his adoptive parents had disowned him and moved to another state. He would never see his adoptive parents again. Roy Lewis Norris was born in Greeley, Colorado on February 5th, 1948. Norris was conceived out of wedlock. His parents had married to avoid the social stigma surrounding illegitimate birth at the time. Norris' extended family lived within a short distance of his parents' home due to his grandfather's real estate investments. His father worked in a scrap yard and his mother was a drug addict housewife. He occasionally lived with his parents throughout his childhood and adolescence, but was repeatedly placed in the care of foster families throughout the state of Colorado. Norris' childhood recollections or interspersed with memories of wrongful accusations while living with his biological parents and of being neglected by many of the foster families he lived with, frequently being denied sufficient food or clothing. He also claimed to have been sexually abused when in the care of a Hispanic family, later stating the prejudice he held toward Hispanic people originated from the neglect and abuse he endured as a child when placed in the care of this family. While living with his birth parents at the age of 16, Norris visited the home of a female relative who was in her early 20s and began speaking to her in a sexually suggestive manner. She ordered him to leave her house and informed his father, who threatened to subject him to a beating. Norris subsequently stole his father's car and drove into the Rocky Mountains, where he attempted to commit suicide by injecting pure air into an artery in his arm. He was later apprehended as a runaway and returned to live with his parents. Upon his return home, Norris' parents informed him that he and his younger sister were unwanted children and that they intended to divorce when both reached adolescence. A year later, Norris dropped out of school and joined the United States Navy. He was stationed in San Diego in 1965 and was deployed to serve in the Vietnam War in 1969. Although he did not see active combat during his 4-month tour of duty, he was honorably discharged from the Navy after one tour of duty. In May 1970, Norris was on the ball for another offense when he violently attacked a female student with a rock on the campus of San Diego State University. Charged for the offense, Norris served almost 5 years at Aceto State Hospital, classified as a mental disorder sex offender. Norris was released on probation in 1975, declared of no further danger to others. 3 months later, he raped a 27-year-old woman after dragging her into some bushes. In 1976, Norris was incarcerated in the same prison as Whittaker, bringing the future Toolbox killers together. By 1979, Loris Whittaker and Roy Norris had become close prison acquaintances, sharing a preserved obsession with sexual violence against women. Norris told Whittaker his biggest thrill was overwhelming women with fear and terror, and Whittaker confided that if he ever raped a woman, he would kill her to avoid leaving behind a witness. Fantasizing about sexually assaulting and murdering teenage girls, both men pledged that they would reunite once released, and planned to murder one girl of each teenage year, 13 through 19. Whittaker was released in November 1978, and Norris followed on January 1979. Within a month, Norris had raped a woman. Then, as promised, Norris received a letter from Whittaker, and the pair met and began to put their twisted prison plan into action. Abducting teenage girls discreetly wouldn't be easy. They needed a suitable vehicle. Whittaker proposed a van. Norris put up the cash, and in February 1979, Whittaker purchased a silver 1977 GMC Vendetta. The passenger side sliding door would allow them to pull up to potential victims without having to slide the door all the way. They nicknamed their van the Murder Mac. The pair picked up over 20 hitchhikers from February to June 1979, but didn't assault these girls. Rather, they were practice runs, scouting for secure locations. In late April 1979, they found an isolated fire road in the San Gabriel Mountains. In the final preparations, Lawrence Bittaker and Roy Norris created a toolbox for torture. They bought plastic tape, pliers, rope, knives, and an ice pick, as well as a Polaroid camera and tape recorder. Then the toolbox killers were ready to indulge in their sadism. Bittaker also wanted to build a small town in which to imprison kidnapped teenage girls, where they would remain naked, chained, tortured, and forced into sex acts. Between late June and September 1979, the pair abducted, raped, and killed 4 teenage girls ranging in age from 13 to 17. They drove their victims to the mountain fire road, where they inflicted pain from their toolbox assortment. The girls' screams forever lost in the mountain canyons. After realizing manual strangulation wasn't as easy as the movies, Bittaker started using wire from a coat hanger tightened with pliers. The depravity increased for Andrea Hall, their second victim. Upon the mountains, Bittaker inserted an ice pick through her ear, then tried the other side and finally stomped on the handle until it snapped. Andrea, miraculously still alive, was finally strangled by Bittaker, and when the pair were finished with her, they threw her over the mountainside. The level of terror, pain, and sexual assault was escalating for Bittaker and Norris' victims. The pair's evil would only be surpassed in later years by serial killers Leonard Lake and Charles Nick. On September 3rd, Bittaker and Norris observed 2 girls named Jackie Doris Gilman and Jacqueline Leah Lamb sitting on a bus stop bench near Hermosa Beach. Bittaker and Norris offered the girls a ride, which they both accepted. Inside the van, both girls were offered marijuana by Norris, which they accepted. Shortly after entering the van, both girls realized that Bittaker had steered the van off the Pacific Coast Highway and was driving in the direction of San Gabriel Mountains. When the girls protested, both Bittaker and Norris attempted to allay the girls' concerns with excuses, which did not deceive either girl. Lamb, aged 13, attempted to open the sliding door, whereupon Norris hit her on the back of the head with a bag filled with lead weights, briefly knocking her unconscious before overpowering 15-year-old Jackie. As he began to bind and gag Jackie, Jacqueline regained conscience and again attempted to flee the van, whereupon Norris twisted her arm behind her back and dragged her back into the van. They were held captive for almost 2 days, being bound and gagged between repeated instances of sexual and physical abuse. Bittaker walked Lamb onto a nearby hill and forced her to pose for pornographic pictures before returning her to the van. Bittaker also asked Norris to take several Polaroid pictures of himself and Jackie. Bittaker also asked Norris to take several Polaroid pictures of himself and Jackie, both nude and clothed. In the first of 3 instances in which Whittaker raped Jackie, he also created a tape recording of himself raping her, forcing the girl to pretend she was his cousin, and warning Jackie to feel free to express her pain. Whittaker is also known to have tortured Jackie. The bodies of Jackie and Jacqueline were thrown over an embankment into the chapel. The repeated rape, unspeakable brutality, and horrific torture that Lawrence Whittaker and Roy Norris inflicted on 16-year-old Shirley Ledford was all recorded for their sick enjoyment. Late on Halloween night, 1979, Shirley left her restaurant ship toward a party in a colleague's car. From a gas station, she decided to walk or hitchhike home rather than go to the party, and she may have entered the van after recognizing Whittaker as a customer from the restaurant. For 2 hours, Shirley was subjected to agonizing trauma as the pair took turns alternately driving the van, raping and torturing her. Whittaker repeatedly beat her with a sledgehammer, twisted, squeezed, and tortured her physical body. Both men encouraged Shirley to scream louder for the tape. After Norris rained repeated hammer blows to her elbow, then strangled her with a coat hanger and pliers, Ledford can be heard begging for death. In response, Shirley pleaded, "I'll scream if you stop hitting me," then admitted several high-pitched screams as Norris encouraged her to continue until he ordered her to stop. After Norris rained repeated hammer blows to her elbow, then strangled her with a coat hanger and pliers, Shirley can be heard begging for death. When Whittaker and Norris had finished, Shirley Ledford's body was left in a grisly display on the front lawn of a nearby house. Her body was found by a jogger the following morning. Roy Norris revealed the pair's rapes and murders to another rapist he had been incarcerated with, including Shirley's murder. Norris also confided that another woman had been raped by them, but released afterward. The man notified police via his attorney, and investigators matched reports of several teenage girls reported missing over the previous 5 months to Norris's claims. There was also the September 30th report of a young woman dragged into a GMC van and raped by 2 men in their 30s. The rape victim was shown mugshots and positively identified Whittaker and Norris. Norris was arrested for a parole violation on November 20th, 1979, with Whittaker arrested for a rape at his motel the same day. The search of Norris's apartment revealed a bracelet of Shirley's, while in Whittaker's motel room, police found numerous photographs and other incriminating evidence. Investigators seized and searched Whittaker's silver van, where they seized several items, including several cassette tapes, one of which contained Shirley's torture. Shirley's mother confirmed it was her daughter on the recording, screaming, pleading, and begging for her life. Investigators confirmed the voices on the tape belonged to Whittaker and Norris. Norris initially denied all accusations, then faced with evidence confessed to 5 murders. Norris, seeking a plea deal to testify against Whittaker, took investigators into the San Gabriel Mountains, where the skulls of Jackie and Jacqueline were eventually found. Jackie's skull still contained the lodged ice pick, and Jacqueline's skull showed blunt force trauma. Roy Norris pled guilty, sparing him the death penalty and on May 7, 1980, was sentenced to 45 years to life, with parole eligibility from 2010. Lawrence Bittaker's trial began on January 19, 1981. Norris testified about their shared history and the 5 murders committed by them, introducing photographic evidence, and a witness from Bitmaker's motel testified that he had been shown naked photos of distressed girls by Bittaker and told one of them had been killed. Another 17-year-old girl testified that Bittaker had played her a cassette tape, apparently the rape of Jackie. Then the 17-minute audio of Shirley Ledford was played for the jury, and many cried, burying their heads in their hands. Prosecutor Stephen Kay was reduced to tears, but Bittaker sat through the whole thing smiling. Norris had testified Bittaker that amused himself by playing the tape while driving in the weeks before his arrest. On February 5th, Bittaker testified himself, denying rape and murder, stating he paid the girls for sex and permission to take their photographs. In closing, Prosecutor Kay told the jury, if the death penalty is not appropriate for this case, then will it ever be? On February 17, the jury found Bittaker guilty of 5 accounts of first-degree murder and several other charges. On February 19, Bittaker was sentenced to death. On death row, after various appeals and stays of execution, Bittaker never expressed any remorse for his crimes, but did seem to reveal in his celebrity autographing items with the name Pliers Bittaker. He died in San Quentin State Prison on December 13, 2019. Norris died in prison of natural causes on February 24th, 2020. In the aftermath of the Toolbox killer's savagery, Stephen Kay reported recurring nightmares. He would be rushing to Bittaker's van to prevent harm coming to the girls, but always get there too late. Meanwhile, Shirley Ledford's tape is retained by the FBI and is used to this day to train FBI agents about the reality of torture and murder.